So you have learned how to declare variables and constants. Now let's see how we can write mathematical expressions for performing calculations. This is where the fun begins. So I'm going to declare two variables, x and y. Now we can declare a third variable and set it to x plus y. So what we have here is called the addition operator, and x and y here are called operands. So now let's print z on the terminal. So std double colon cout z. Take a look. So now we see 13. Beautiful. We also have subtraction, multiplication, and division. But division is a little bit tricky. In this case, because we're dealing with two integers, the result of the division is going to be an integer, even though in reality, dividing 10 by 3 is going to result in a number with a decimal point, which we call a floating point number in programming. So if we run our program, we see 3. But what if you want to see a floating point number? Well, changing the type of z to double is not going to solve this problem because, as I told you earlier, if both our numbers are integers, the result of the division is also going to be an integer. So to get a floating point number, we have to convert one of these numbers to a double. So take a look. First, the warning goes away. Now, if we run our program one more time, look, we get 3.3333. Okay? So this is how division works in C++. Now let me revert this back to integer and integer. Now we have another operator called modulus, which returns the remainder of a division. So what is the remainder of division of 10 by 3? It's 1. Let's verify it. There you go. Okay? Now, using these operators, we can modify our variables. Let me show you what I mean. So for simplicity, I'm going to remove y and z. We only have x and we're going to print it on the terminal. Let's say we want to increment x by 5. Here's how we do it. We type x equals x plus 5. So first, this piece of code or this expression is going to get evaluated. The result is 15, and then the result will be stored in x. Okay? Now, similarly, we can subtract 5 from x. We can multiply x by 5 and so on. Okay? Now, we also have two more operators you need to know, and they are increment and decrement operators. So let's say we want to add 1 to x. We can say x equals x plus 1. That is totally fine, but there is a shorter and more concise way to write this code. We can say x plus plus. This is the increment operator. We also have decrement operator, but we don't have the equivalent for multiplication or division. Only increment and decrement, okay? Now, this increment operator, there are two ways we can apply it. We can apply it as a postfix or as a prefix. Let me show you the difference. So I'm going to delete these two lines. Let's declare another variable called y and set it to x plus plus. If we apply this as a postfix, first, the current value of x, which is 10, is going to be assigned to y. So y is going to be 10, and then x will be incremented by 1. So if you run our program, x is going to be 11, but y is going to be 10. Let me show you. So we print x is 11, but if we print y is going to be 10. Okay? So let me add this as a comment for clarity. In this case, x is going to be 11 and y is going to be 10. Now, what if we apply the increment operator as a prefix? So we declare another variable and set it to plus plus x. In this case, because we applied this operator as a prefix, first, the value of x is going to be incremented by 1. So x is going to be 11, and then the result will be stored in z. So in this case, both x and z are going to be 11. Let's verify it. So if we print z, well, in this case, z is 12. I made a mistake because in the previous statement, we incremented x by 1. So if we comment out this line, it's not going to get executed. So now, when we run our program, x is going to be 11 and z is going to be 11 as well. Let's verify it. So here's z, beautiful. And let's also print x. There you go. So here's what you need to take away. If you apply the increment or decrement operator as a prefix, first, this piece of code is going to get evaluated. So first x is going to be incremented by 1, and then the result is going to be stored in the other variable. In contrast, if we apply this operator as a postfix, first, the current value of x, which is 10, is going to be stored in y, and then x is going to be incremented by 1.